Kita niyo yung presentation?
Yes po.
Okay. Sige, maikli lang naman 'to. So for today, we'll be discussing status offense. I think you have a background on this already, but, eto dedicated 'to lesson na 'to dedicated lang sa status offense. Okay. So a status offense is a non-criminal act that is considered a law violation only because a youth's status as a minor. So take note of the definition. It is a non-criminal act. Therefore, um, hindi siya defined, hindi siya legally defined as a crime, itong act na ginagawa. Pero nagiging somehow criminal siya dahil sa status ng isang bata, dahil nga minor siya. Typical status offenses include truancy, running away from home, violating curfew, underage use of alcohol, and general ungovernability. So, isa-isahin natin yan mamaya. Status offending behavior is often a sign of underlying personal, familial, community, and systemic issues similar to the risk factors that underlie general offending. So katulad ng mga adults, etong mga to, yan nga, personal, familial, community, and systemic issues are risk factors para mag-commit ng crime ang isang tao. And kung bata ang pinag-uusapan, mag-commit siya ng isang status offense. Sometimes, these underlying issues contribute to delinquency later in life, putting youths at a higher risk for drug use, victimization, victimization, engagement in risky behavior, and overall increased potential for physical and mental health issues, including addiction. So, ang dating, kapag ang isang tao o ang isang bata ay gumagawa ng status offense, kapag laki niya, itong mga 'to, ah, drug use, victimization, engagement in risky behavior, and others, are ano 'to, potential sila potential itong mga bata na gagawin nila ito in the future if they commit status offense, bata pa lang sila. Ample evidence supports the notion that less serious forms of delinquency often precede the onset of more serious delinquent acts. Ayun na nga. Kapag bata pa lang, nagsimula na siya gumawa ng mga status offense, paglaki niya, malamang gagawa na siya ng mga krimen. However, the precursor to delinquency view of status offending does not take into account the normal experimentation of childhood and adolescence or the diverse developmental pathways that can lead to serious delinquency. So, ibig sabihin niyan, um, pagbata kasi, minsan 'di ba malakas lang ang trip. Minsan nag-e-experiment lang, very curious ang mga bata. So, if a child commits a status offense, hindi siya palagi na, precursor nga to delinquency. Hindi palaging gano'n. Kasi madami pang factors na puwedeng o dapat mai-consider. Pero ang sinasabi lang naman dito, sinasabi kanina na it's likely to cause, uh, to cause issues when they grow up. It's more likely that they will become criminals when they grow up. Pero hindi sa lahat ng pagkakataon. Kaya nga, more likely lang. And then, children and adolescents commonly experiment with behaviors that are not considered positive or pro-social, such as lying, being truant, or defying parents. Such experimentation allows youths to discover the negative consequences of of their behaviors and learn from their mistakes. Most youths who engage in status and other minor offenses never progress to more serious behaviors. Ay naman. So, hindi sa lahat ng pagkakataon ay mag engage sila sa more serious behaviors. Because yun na nga, may mga pagkakataon na nag-e-experiment lang sila, very curious lang sila kaya, nakakagawa sila ng status offense. Pero paglaki nila, because of different factors then because of their environment, ay napipigilan nila o napipigilan yung pagka-kriminal, ayun. So the states in the United States have formulated different approaches to defining and handling status offenders. The approaches can be broadly divided into three categories. Status offenders as delinquents, status offenders as neglected or abused dependents, and status offenders as a separate legislative category. So, yan yung mga categories na na-formulate sa United States. And yung iba't ibang states sa United States, ganyan yung gamit nila na division ng status offenders. So the classification of offense behaviors largely dictates the kind of treatment and services that status offenders are likely to receive. The legal definition of a status offense is critical as it can impact the treatment and availability of services to a youth in the juvenile justice system. Actually, hindi lang naman sa status offense eh, kahit saan. The legal definition is very important in order for us to determine the specific elements of a certain crime. So the five primary types of status offense are truancy, running away from home, violating curfew, underage use of alcohol, and general ungovernability. So simulan natin sa truancy. So truancy refers to habitual, unexcused absences from school, which exceeds the number allowed under state law. So eto yung mga batang pala-absent. There is variation across states regarding the number of unexcused absences signifying truancy. Each state's school attendance law specifies the age at which a child must begin school, the age at which a youth can legally drop out of school, and the number of unexcused absences that constitute truancy. So, um, nakalagay daw sa batas nila doon kung anong edad dapat magsimula ang isang bata sa pag-aaral. Parang sa atin, di ba, 6? 5 ba o 6? Hindi ko na sure. Pero yun, the age at which a youth can legally drop out of school at kung ilan lang ang absences na allowed bago siya makonsider na truancy. And then the other one, other type of status offense are runaways. So although most runaways share similar experiences and circumstances, there is some variation in the classification of runaway youths. The Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention broadly defines a runaway as a child who leaves home without permission and stays away overnight. Basta lumayas sa bahay. ah Lumayas sa bahay. Pero siya ayun, ano tawag dito? Meron kasing paglayas na babalik din, tapos meron ding layas na matagal talaga siyang hindi babalik or hindi na talaga babalik. So, both are considered runaways. Pero eto ngang OJJDP, ang definition nila ng runaway, child who leaves home without permission and stays away overnight. Runaway yun. Most common are situational runaways, or those who run away from home and return within a few nights. And then longer term runaways include youths who run away to escape serious family problems such as abuse or neglect, and generally do not return home for long periods of time, if at all. Similarly, systems youth live under the care of the state and refuse or are unable to return home. Lastly, there are throwaways or youths who have been kicked out of the house. Okay, so tatlo yun na. Apat, we have situational runaways. Umalis sa bahay, bumalik after a few nights. Longer term runaways, ito na yung mismong runaways na in the general sense, ay umaalis sa bahay nila because of serious family problems, katulad na lang ng abuse or neglect. And usually, matagal talaga silang bagong bumalik or hindi na talaga sila bumabalik. Yun yung mga longer term runaways. And then, or yung term na runaways lang. Yun, sila talaga yung tinutukoy dyan. And then, systems youth, yung mga nandoon sa care ng state or are are unable to return home. Basta nasa pangangalaga ng state, nasa loob sila noong system, kaya sila tinawag na systems youth. And then, meron ding throwaways, yung mga pinalayas, hindi siya lumayas, pinalayas sila. And then we have curfew violations. So although juvenile curfews are common, there is some variability in so far as the specified hours, days of the week, location, whether school is in session, or to which age groups the curfew pertains. Exceptions can be made for youths traveling to school or work-related events, religious events, and emergency situations. Ayan, ito lang yung mga exceptions. Pero kapag nagva-violate nga ng curfew, yon considered as a status offense talaga. Ano 'to? So for example, the District of Columbia enforces a curfew that applies to all youths under the age of 17 from September through June. Youths must be off the street from Sunday through Thursday between the hours of 11 p.m. and 6 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday between the hours of 12 a.m. and 6 p.m. a.m. And then another type of status offense is underage drinking. So underage drinking is a common activity among youths. The 2012 National Survey on Drug Use and Health reported that nearly one quarter of youths aged 12 to 20 drank alcohol. One quarter, ha? Ibig sabihin, one-fourth. While 15% reported binge drinking. The survey also showed that 1.7 million youths were classified as heavy drinkers. Ganun kadami. 2013 pa yan, ha? 1.7 million youths were classified as heavy drinkers, consuming 5 or more drinks in one session on 5 days or more throughout the past month. And then lastly, uh, ungovernable or incorrigible youth. Ungovernable, hindi na sila mapangunahan, hindi na kayang i-govern. And incorrigible, hindi na sila maitama. Okay. When a youth's disobedience is so frequent and or severe that the family must seek legal assistance, the youth is subsequently classified as incorrigible or ungovernable, a formal status offense in most states. Simply put, being beyond the control of parental authority is referred to as unruly, unmanageable, and incorrigible throughout various juvenile codes. So, characteristics of status offenders. When a youth is referred to juvenile court for a status offense, the court may decide to divert the youth away from formal system processing, or the court may decide to process the juvenile formally by filing a petition. Okay. Characteristics in relation to age. So in 2013, the petition case rate for status offenses increased with the age of juveniles. For example, 16-year-olds had twice the petition status offense case rate compared with 14-year-olds, whereas 14-year-olds had nearly 4 times the petition case rate for status offense compared with 12-year-olds. So the case rate for almost all age groups across the four status offenses decreased in between 1995 and 2013. However, for truancy cases, the rate has increased for all age groups. And then we have gender. So, uh, Males accounted for the majority of status offense cases involving curfew violations, liquor law violations, ungovernability, and truancy. The only status offense in which females accounted for a higher proportion of the caseload compared with males was for runaway cases. So majority talaga ng mga status offense, lalaki daw ang nagva-violate, ang gumagawa. Then runaway lang yung pangbabae na mas mataas. However, both male and female status offenders saw a comparable decrease in petition status offense cases between 1995 and 2013. And then we have race. Like age and gender, race was a factor in status offense case rates. In 2013, petition truancy cases made up the greatest proportion of petition status offense caseloads for white, Black, American Indian, and Asian juveniles. So compared with Black juveniles in 2013, white juveniles had a higher rate of liquor law violations. In addition, white juveniles had a higher rate of runaway cases than Black juveniles. However, compared with white juveniles, Black juveniles had a higher proportion of cases of ungovernability. Hindi na sila mapangunahan, matigas ang ulo, and curfew violations. Okay.